Welcome back. We're ready now to begin the very first chapter of the Ashtavakra Gita. The title of this chapter is Atma Anubhava Upadesha Varnanam, Instructions for Gaining Direct Recognition of Atma. The titles of these chapters are not given by Ashtavakra himself. They come from a Sanskrit commentary on this text called Ashtavakra Gita Deepika. This commentary was written by Swami Vishwananda, who probably lived about 400 or 500 years ago. I'll be using it to prepare for each class. Before we begin, let's set the scene in King Janaka's palace, where Ashtavakra is sitting across from Janaka. Even though Janaka is already enlightened, he is really eager to discuss the teachings of Advaita Vedanta with Ashtavakra, because he wants to remain immersed in these teachings to support his ongoing practice of nididhyasana. As we discussed in the last class, nididhyasana, or Vedantic Contemplation, is necessary to fully assimilate these teachings and to remove the habitual identification with your body and mind that lingers even after you discover your true nature as pure consciousness, atma. To me, reading this dialogue feels a bit like eavesdropping. It feels like we're secretly listening in on an amazing and profound conversation between two great enlightened beings. We're like little flies on the wall in King Janaka's palace. Okay, let's begin. Janaka uvacha. You can repeat each line after me if you like. Janaka uvacha katam jnanam avapnoti katam jnanam avapnoti katam muktir bhavishyati katam muktir bhavishyati vairagyam chakatam praptam vairagyam chakatam praptam etad bruhi mama prabho etad bruhi mama prabho. Let me mention here that when I quote words from the text, I'll be removing all the changes that occur due to grammatical rules that govern how words combine. For example, in the last line, instead of etad, this, I'll use etat, which is the original form of the word. Also, I'll explain the words in normal prose order. In verses like these, the normal word order gets altered for the sake of following the poetic meter. Starting in the last line, Janaka begins by addressing Ashtavakra. Prabho, O great master, etat mama, these questions of mine, the questions I'm about to ask, bruhi, please answer them. Please tell me. Tell me what? In the second line, katam muktihi, how can mukti, liberation or enlightenment, bhavishyati, how can it be gained? How can one attain enlightenment? Of course, Janaka is already enlightened, so he already knows that liberation is attained through jnanam, through spiritual knowledge, specifically through the personal discovery or realization of your true inner self, atma. So Janaka also asks, katam jnanam, how can that knowledge or direct realization of apnoti, how can it be attained? How can one discover or realize atma? Janaka also knows that the biggest obstacle to discovering your true nature is being strongly attached to the enjoyment of worldly pleasures. He knows that for the sake of gaining enlightenment, you eventually have to stop seeking worldly pleasures. So he also asks, Katam vairagyam cha? How can vairagya, dispassion or disinterest, praptam, how can it be gained? How can one become dispassionate towards worldly pleasures? All three of Janaka's opening questions relate to gaining mukti, liberation, enlightenment. And that's exactly what Ashtavakra responds to in the following verse. Ashtavakra vacha, Ashtavakra vacha, muktim hitchasi chetata, muktim hitchasi chetata, vishayan vishavatyaja, vishayan vishavatyaja, kshamarjavadayatosha, kshamarjavadayatosha, satyam piyushavat bhaja, satyam piyushavat bhaja. Ashtavakra begins by addressing King Janaka. Tata, O dear one, muktim ichasi chet, if you desire mukti, if you want to gain liberation or enlightenment, then what should you do? Tyaja, you should abandon, you should completely give up vishayan, objects of pleasure, all worldly enjoyments. You should avoid them because they're vishavat, they're like poison, they're toxic. In this verse, Ashtavakra compares worldly enjoyments to poison because they poison your mind, in a manner of speaking. Worldly enjoyments can predispose you, or even forcibly compel you to seek contentment outside of yourself through worldly pleasures, instead of seeking contentment inside yourself through spiritual practice. That's how your mind gets poisoned. And if you consume the poison of worldly pleasures, it can kill you. How? If you spend your entire lifetime seeking worldly pleasures, then you'll eventually reach the end of your life and die. But you'll die without having discovered the true source of contentment within you. You'll die without having gained enlightenment. If your mind has been poisoned by attachment to worldly pleasures, then you need to find an antidote to that poison. And the antidote to that attachment is spiritual practice. In general, spiritual practice turns your attention away from the world outside and redirects your attention within yourself. And your ongoing practice will eventually lead you to discover the actual source of contentment within you, your true self, atma. So, if attachment to worldly pleasures is like poison, then spiritual practice is like ambrosia. It's piyushavat. It's like sweet nectar. Spiritual practice is sweet because it leads you closer and closer to the inner source of contentment. Now, what kind of spiritual practice is Ashtavakra referring to here? Well, he mentions a few of them, including kshama, forgiveness, arjava, sincerity, daya, compassion, tosha, serenity, and satyam, being truthful. But you might wonder, why does Ashtavakra mention these somewhat tangential spiritual practices instead of talking about the main practices, like karma yoga, meditation, and bhakti? Well, Ashtavakra apparently sees it like this. If you already have a guru, then Your guru can certainly teach you how to practice karma yoga, meditation, and devotion. But no guru can teach you how to be forgiving. No guru can teach you how to be sincere or compassionate. Your guru can certainly teach you the importance of these virtues. Your guru can even be a great role model for you. But you have to develop these virtues on your own. No one can do it for you. It's entirely up to you, and that's why Ashtavakra emphasizes them here. Okay, as we discussed before, each of our classes will conclude with a session of guided contemplation, nididhyasana. First of all, we have to select a teaching or spiritual principle to contemplate on. A teaching that you already understand, but you have not fully assimilated yet. You can't contemplate on something you don't already know. My guru liked to joke, you can't contemplate on gagabugai. Gagabugai is a nonsense word he made up. We can contemplate on Ashtavakra's teaching that seeking contentment in the world is like poison, whereas seeking contentment within you is an antidote to that poison. You already understand this principle, but it's possible or even likely that from time to time you might still seek contentment through various kinds of worldly pleasure. Even though you have understood this teaching, you might not have fully assimilated it yet. And that lack of assimilation is exactly what nididhyasana is meant to address. Let me show you how to contemplate on this teaching. Formal nididhyasana has several steps. The first step is to prepare your mind. Before you can contemplate on anything, your mind has to be ready. Your mind has to be completely free from distractions and capable of remaining engaged in contemplation for a sufficient length of time. To prepare your mind for nididhyasana, meditation is practiced first. You can use any technique that makes your mind perfectly silent and completely concentrated to make it one-pointed, focused like a laser beam. If you're already an experienced meditator, you have probably learned and mastered all the skills you need to prepare your mind like this. Otherwise, you'll definitely need to develop those meditation skills first before you can practice nididhyasana effectively. If you need to develop those skills, my online course in meditation might be helpful. It's freely available on YouTube. Okay, we're ready to begin our guided contemplation. So, this is the right time for you to pause this video for a while and use your meditation skills to prepare your mind. You can practice any technique that makes your mind perfectly quiet and focused. Don't hurry through this first step. I usually spend about half of my practice time in meditation to get ready for nididhyasana. After you practice your chosen technique and have made your mind sufficiently quiet and focused, then you can return to this video. You can listen to the following guided contemplation while keeping your eyes closed. If your mind wandered at all while I was chanting Om, then your mind is probably not sufficiently prepared for the practice of nididhyasana. If that's the case, it might be best to stop here and continue to prepare your mind through your chosen meditation technique. Then you can return here to this video when you're ready. Now that your mind is quiet and focused, we can proceed. Right now, at this very moment, you naturally feel peaceful. You feel content. That's because contentment is natural. Contentment is the nature of your true self, atma. When your mind is perfectly quiet, there's nothing that can get in the way of this contentment, nothing that can obstruct this contentment. Meditation merely quiets your mind. It doesn't produce this contentment. In fact, you don't have to do anything at all to produce contentment, because contentment is natural. It's your true nature. In daily life, to produce feelings of pleasure, you have to do something pleasant, something you enjoy. But those feelings of pleasure soon wear off. Then, to regain those pleasant feelings, you have to do something else you enjoy, and then something else, again and again. That's how worldly pleasure works. But right now, the contentment you feel is not the result of doing anything. This contentment is your true nature. Now, in a few moments, while I chant Om, just observe your mind and notice how you feel. Do you still feel content? Don't do anything. Just observe. Do you still feel content? Don't do anything. Just observe. Do you still feel content? Don't do anything. Just observe. Om.